stubborn.
Let's bring Robert into the conversation, too, because he's here as well.
Watch. Ask him.
Yeah,
Ask him. Ask him.
Robert,
Robert.
what was Leroy's nickname in Minnesota?
That's funny. I don't know. Mouth?
No. What did Carl call me? What did Carl call me?
I don't
Toe
remember.
popper. The original toe popper.
See, but we also had the ads, the ass dude. So we had I was light ass dude. There was dark ass dude, chocolate ass dude, and Leroy was Tad, T-A-D, talking ass dude.
So hey, everybody else had a color, and they just did. I think they did that just so they could say I talk a lot. That's it.
Yeah.
It was effective though. It worked.
I remember Leroy had TMJ, which is like a jaw condition, and we said no, TMJ. It's got a new meaning now. It's too much John.
Hey, so Robert, check this out. So, and you've played enough offense, and you've heard enough offensive coordinators say this, that when you go through a course of a game, and you having problems protecting the quarterback, that offensive coordinator will come to the sideline and say, hey, if we can't block him with 5, we're going to block him with 6. If we can't block him with 6, we're going to block him with 7. That's just the way we're going to do things. And defensively, if we start gashing them and running the football, the safeties start creeping in. Now,
yeah,
the way it worked with us was when you see those safeties coming up, that was a Randy Moss pass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because he one-on-one, he could outrun everybody. So you have counters to everything that either the offense or the defense does, and you kind of play this game during the whole course of the game. I don't understand with the Browns why they continue to do the same thing and think that it's going to get better.
Stubborn.
Because they got defensive tackles 10 yards down the field because they getting blowed off the line of scrimmage, right? And nobody on the sideline say, hey, maybe we ought to change it up a little bit. Let's move them around a little bit. Let's get some linebacker help or something, right? They just keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's wild. And and
200 yards.
And I heard Tyvis talking about it. He's right. And this is, they came into the game. The Chargers came into the game as one of the worst rushing offenses in the league. Averaging just under 3 yards a carry, and ran for I think 170 yards more than their season total, season average. So, yeah, you're right, man. You got to do something different. And if it's not, it's got to be extra bodies if you don't have the personnel. And if you don't have the personnel from week to week, you got to think about replacing that personnel. And I agree. You bring in Deion Jones at linebacker. It's the same. It's the same solution that you've been doing. And what do they say? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And it seems like they're doing the same thing over and over. You look around the league and, I've had the opportunity to call, games in different places this year, and teams just get creative. Vance Joseph last week, Arizona Cardinals defensive coordinator, going against Philadelphia, he brings a lot of pressure out of the secondary, and a lot of it is, to counter run. It's not just a counter pass. I think people always think of extra bodies as, being there, for blitzing and pressuring the quarterback. But sometimes you got to do that in a run. But it's always give and take, right? Like you said, if it's a 7 or an 8-man protection, you might only get 2 or 3 out into the route. And if you bring extra bodies up into the line of scrimmage to try and stop the run or to generate pressure, then you're going to leave yourself exposed on the back end.
Which is the last thing this defense can afford to do.
Well, here's the deal, though. When you're getting gashed for 200 yards, at that point, it doesn't matter if you give up a pass. Just don't give up. Stop something.
Yeah.
You got to stop something.
That's what I was saying.
You have got to stop. You can't let a team just run the ball down your throat. period.
That's the
You just can't
easiest
do
thing to do, is let them run.
Absolutely. Turn around and hand the ball off. At least you're throwing the ball. Ball can get tipped. Ball can get dropped. Ball can get intercepted. That's that old saying, you drop back to throw the ball and, three things can happen and two of them are bad. You have to try and stop the run first. That's the first goal of any defense. And you're right. If you're not controlling gaps up front, or even worse, if you're getting pushed back to the linebacker level so those guys can't move, let alone flow, you got no chance.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we've seen the last couple of weeks. Leroy, I know you got to run. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully next week we're celebrating a win and not dissecting the same nonsense week after week.
Jay over it.
Well, hey, my advice to the Browns is stop the damn run.
Stop the run. Before we let you go, do you think they win Sunday?
Yeah, I can't imagine. I can't imagine. What's his name? Zappy?
Bailey Zappi.
Bailey Zappi.
Bailey Zappi.
Don't say that. That boy led. He broke the record in college. Don't do that.
Broke the where?
Most
At Saginaw State?
Most passing yards and most passing touchdowns in college history.
Yeah, but usually the guys that hold those records in college aren't good in the NFL.
That's fine.
No, I know, but they usually don't go to play for Bill Belichick.
That's true, too.
Fair. That's fair. Those are sweet-looking uniforms right there.
Yeah, those are their best.
I like the old school ones.
He can
With the
pass
little
the ball. That's all.
Hey, listen, Leroy, enjoy your weekend.
Thanks, buddy.
And we'll see you next week, hopefully talking about a Browns victory. Robert, do you have a gut on this one? Because I mean, right now the conversation is it's going to be a victory. Leroy says, yeah, it's going to be a win. Bull actually guaranteed a victory. Bull said that they would win or he would wear a Baker Mayfield jersey on the show, which blew me away.
And I can't stand Baker Mayfield.
He said bet the house, but he did say don't bet my house,
Carolina
bet your house.
or Browns?
I said I was going to buy a Carolina Panthers.
They
Browns.
gotta win.
I'm buying a cheapy one though if it happens, but
They gotta win.
I will buy it.
You're not going to have to spend a whole lot on it.
No,
You get it on the discount rack.
he's already in the. I mean, it's a good point. By the way, Rob, is there any chance Baker Mayfield is a starter next season in the NFL?
Wow, man! You never say never, and
right?
You never figure, you figure that a desperate team is going to do something really crazy. I just don't see it. I don't know what it is. I can't imagine the scenario that he's a starter next year. What if he's out for the next 2 to 6 weeks? I mean, I just can't see it.
Oh, he goofed. He could have taken the Browns to the cleaners. They had a decent offer on the table for him.
Yeah.
And he decided to bet on himself.
Big time.
That's the bad decision.
And to be fair, listen, I am enjoying his struggles this year, but I didn't think he'd be this bad.
I don't think
For all the times I've crushed him, I thought he was mediocre, not terrible.
What were you saying 2 years ago when he got him into the playoffs?
Right.
I mean,
he played well the second half of that season. He played very well.
Well, the coaching.
Yeah, I mean, what did you think of him then?
Credit, he played well. He did.
What did you think of him then?
I mean, I didn't want to sign him then because I thought he had more to prove, and I'm glad they didn't because he did have more to prove, and he's been a disaster ever since.
Yeah, I just don't understand it. Quarterback is just such a difficult position to play. First of all, there are just so many things that go into it. But it's amazing to me kind of seeing transitions like that to the bad side. And I just don't get it. A lot of quarterbacks like golf, man, a lot of times, we talk about this, it's not how good you are at your best, it's how bad you get at your worst.
Yeah.
We all hit some pars and some birdies, but on your worst holes, are you bogey or are you ball in pocket? And quarterbacks, man, they rarely seem to go that way until they get old and they start losing arm strength, things like that, and mobility. But a younger guy, you look at Baker Mayfield, you look at Carson Wentz, and you think, man, I don't know what happened to these guys.
Yeah.
And I
Jared
think part
Goff
of it
too.
Well, Robert.
Well, Jared's been up and down, but I think sometimes guys get it into their head and they say that they're not listening to the things on the outside, but these errors start to accumulate and they just seem to be gone mentally. And once they're gone, I don't think they can ever.
It's like they get the yips. But Robert, what's interesting about that is we have seen that because normally you're right. once you've established yourself as a front top-tier quarterback in the league, in the old NFL, you could stay there until you started showing a physical decline. But just go back in the last 10, 15 years. I remember when RG3 came into the league, and everybody said, wow. I mean, I think it was Ron Jaworski said, this guy's a Hall of Famer.
Wow, after the first season?
But listen, a lot of people.
Well,
he was great as a rookie.
As a rookie,
had an injury.
He said, well, he said Ron Jaworski also said that Colin Kaepernick would be the best quarterback to ever play the game.
Right. So, and there's another example. So, once upon a time, you had guys like Carson Wentz and certainly RG3, Colin Kaepernick. These guys were playing at a very high level, and nobody could imagine 5 years down the road that they would be completely washed out of the NFL. Now, Carson Wentz is a big guy. Everybody's still intoxicated off what he once was. But I think sometimes, Robert, when you're one-dimensional, what the NFL is so good at doing, and primarily because Belichick started that trend, what do you do well? It's like baseball. What pitch can't you handle? Or you don't like the low and away curve. Well, then all of a sudden the book is out and all you see is the low and away curve. And I think with Baker, teams realized don't let him roll out. If you let him roll out, he can hurt you. So they started pinching the wings, keeping him in the pocket. He's not a mobile guy. And perhaps the league just found out where his weakness was. They forced him to beat them with that weakness, and he's proven not to be able to do it.
Yeah, and, you know, I think when you look at that, well, RG3, first of all, you know, his was more injury related.
He did have an injury.
Yeah, but it's the same point, though. Your point is valid. Like, if he can't get to the edge, if he doesn't have the mobility, if he doesn't have that part of his game, and we force a guy to throw from the pocket, what's he going to be able to do? Now, you get a guy like Lamar Jackson, you get a guy like Kyler Murray, and those things sound great in theory, but they're just, you know, such incredible athletes that, you know, they'll find a way, right? Like they have just been able to find a way to escape, but that's just because of what they can do physically, so different. But yeah, I mean, it's tough, and I don't like to see it with anybody. Like, I don't have any negative feelings towards any player, and you know, especially for a guy that's been successful, and because of the playoff drought in Cleveland and what Baker was able to do up there, I've hated to see it. Now, you know, from an attitude standpoint, and I think probably just from a mentality standpoint, you know, just kind of how he's always kind of had that chip on his shoulder. It certainly has made him press a little bit, but I think ultimately it's just come down to, you know, what are the skills that he has. And you're right, if he can't throw from the pocket, then, you know, he's kind of lost.
Robert, the Buckeyes are obviously it's a bye week for the Buckeyes. Through the 6 weeks,
much needed, right?
Yeah, they definitely they got some injuries over there. Through the first 6 weeks, what's impressed you the most, and what is it that concerns you the most?
Well, what impresses me the most, I think, is just, you know, the depth of the wide receiver position. I mean, amazing. The catches that Marvin Harrison made last week, this is incredible. You talk about Egbuka, you talk about Fleming, and not even, I mean, and the name not mentioned, right? Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's just not being healthy. It's just been incredible to me.
Do you think he need to come back to go first round, or you think he should just sit it on out and just get ready for the draft?
I don't think he needs to come back to play first round. I think he will, though. I think he's going to come back and play. I don't see the guy sitting out. I know that we've seen players in the past when teams are in lesser bowls will decide to sit out, but I think he'll be back, and I think he'll be, you know, what we've seen. It's just crazy to think, you know, with 3 wide receiver sets, you know, you got, you know, one of those guys sitting out, right? Somebody
yeah, when he comes back.
Yeah, right.
It'll be Julian Fleming. That's the sad part.
I mean, can't they just use them all?
No, nobody runs him. No, because the tight ends doing so well. You got to keep him on.
No, but I mean, not on every play.
No,
But
you can run him.
I mean, Fleming's going to play. He's just not going to start.
And by the way, Robert, I mean, I can't believe C.J. Stroud has thrown 3 picks. I mean, what a slacker. Okay? Pull it together, will you?
I think last week it was clearly a miscommunication. Receivers heading up the defensive back.
He's been amazing.
But But yeah,
Is it anything that concerns you about
games
them,
like that.
Robert?
I was getting ready. I was getting ready to say. I mean, you think about Burke at the cornerback.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Talk about it,
the
because that's where I'm at too.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about that for weeks, and what concerns you about it is that mistake after mistake after mistake, and he's still in there. So you're wondering, okay, well, what's behind him at that point, right? Like, if you think that a guy like that, and Urban Meyer said something interesting, when he was talking about offenses and kind of their philosophy going into a game or on a particular play, and he said, you got to find the fish, right? And finding the fish means you find that target on that defense that you go after time and time again. So when it's crunch time and you get a guy like that has, difficulty tracking the ball in the air, it seems, you can get him in a position where, through a penalty or just a flat out getting beat, that you can go after him. But I think, otherwise, I thought the defense, it's been improving, and I think Jim Knowles, he's obviously got an incredible scheme, and those guys have played well. Michael Hall had 2.5 sacks last week, so that defensive
2.5 sacks on 7 plays.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Incredible.
I'd take Jim Knowles right now for the Browns defensive coordinator.
Well, you got to have.
laughing.
I know
you got to have. You got to have Mike Hall at D tackle.
Do the Browns get to play the same opponents that Ohio State does?
No, but it's to Robert's point, it's the scheme. Like last year, this defense looked broken at times, and he doesn't have the personnel that he needs to run exactly what he wants to run here. But he's taking his X's and O's with Jimmys and Joes that aren't recruited to play in that scheme, and he's making it look pretty good. Now, granted, he's doing it against some bad football teams. How will it hold up against Michigan, Penn State, and into the playoffs? I don't know, but so far, what he's done, Robert, has been very, very impressive to me at least.
Yeah, it has been. And then, after the bye week, get Iowa, get Penn State. I'm really interested to see kind of, defensively against Iowa. I don't know how many problems you have.
Yeah.
I saw the stat the other day. Marvin Harrison Jr. has more touchdowns than the Iowa football team.
Oh my gosh!
9-7. I mean, that's just it sounds that 9-7 sounds like an Iowa score, but I really want to see the offense against Iowa's defense. We saw that Michigan had struggles at times, so
they did. Yeah.
that'll be an interesting matchup. But man, we got to talk these quarterback decisions though, and I know you guys have probably already beat this thing to death with Jacoby Brissett, with that interception. Man, I saw the same thing last week. I, had the opportunity to call the Eagles at the Cardinals last week, and I don't know if you guys saw the ending of that one.
I did.
Yep.
Man, there was a situation. Jalen Hurts he's been playing so well.
Yep.
But they had an opportunity to go first and second and goal. And they ran the ball, and they're going to try and throw on third down. And we said this before the throw. And it was, the thing I was thinking, back in my days, when you're a running back and you're down at the goal line, a lot of bodies around you, running back coach used to always say, if you try and extend the ball, you get the ball away from your body where you can't protect it anymore, you better know something, right? And that's something that you better know is that nobody can knock the damn ball away. Nobody's in position to knock the ball away. You go into a situation like that at the goal line, you're a quarterback, and you only need 3 points to go up, right? You're in a tie game situation. You better throw the ball in a place where it can't get touched. You better throw a ball where it can't get tipped in the air and intercepted. Sure enough, ball gets tipped in the air. Fortunately for them, fell to the ground. Nobody was able to intercept it. You go down the field, bad quarterback decisions again by Kyler Murray. It's second down, dives near a first down, thinks he has it. He doesn't. 22 seconds left in the game. They spike the ball on the next play thinking that they had a first down, and then they're forced into a field goal. And, you have Amendola as the backup kicker, and he pushes that thing. And I bring all this up in thinking about Jacoby Brissett in that 3rd and 7 situation last week. All you need is a field goal to go up in that game, and you just can't make that throw unless you know. He wasn't able to track the linebacker on that drop back underneath it. Even if that ball gets over the linebacker,
Yep, it's still going to be picked.
That thing might have been picked anyway.
Because Cooper was not open at all.
Terrible decision.
You can't make that throw. And in these, last week's, I know, what is it, November 14th, that Deshaun Watson's going to be able to start practicing. In these last weeks, man, you can't afford to make decisions like that. Especially can't do things like that against New England.
Thanks, Robert.
Robert, great to see you.
Appreciate it.
You got a game this weekend, or are you off this weekend?
No, we have Arizona again. Arizona at Seattle. So it'll be good, man.
Man, Geno's playing great.
Yeah, Geno Smith is playing great.
We've called them a couple of times this year, but it'll be interesting to see and interesting to hear the interview with Kyler Murray and with Cliff and talking about that situation that they had at the end of the game.
Yeah, let's hear what they have to say
I'm
about
also curious to see Kenneth Walker in the lead back role because Penny's done for the year. He had a bad injury.
Robert, 30 seconds before we let you go. Michigan and Penn State, the big game on the schedule this weekend in the Big Ten. Who do you like?
Snooze fest.
Wow, man. Wow. I'm gonna have to. I hate to do this.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I got to do it. I mean, Michigan's been on a mission, and Corum has been fantastic. So I know Tyvis is he's mouthing it. He's like,
I don't get this. If I were you guys, I'd want Michigan to be undefeated when they play the Buckeyes.
I always
and
do.
if you beat them, it's even more meaningful.
I want to wreck their season.
Yeah, but they're terrible.
Yeah.
Well, they're not terrible.
But
Robert.
you will never. First of all, never. It never bothers me to see them lose. It's like the Packers, man.
Yeah.
I don't care who they're playing. I've never been upset after a Michigan or a
Fair enough.
It makes me laugh.
Well, it's like the year that Michigan lost to Michigan State on that wild play at the end.
Yeah.
And I was going nuts. I was like, this is great. And then I looked at the standings and the schedule, and I started figuring things out.
It was
I'm
bad
like,
for us.
That just cost Ohio State the Big Ten championship.
Bad for us.
But I still reveled in the moment that Michigan
That's right.
lost the game in that way and gave us the meme forever of the Michigan fan in the end zone with his hands up going like, what the hell just happened?
I don't know if you've ever seen this, but you have to look up. There's a taxidermist that did like a bunch of chipmunks recreating the block punt. And
I gotta look that up.
McNuggets is on it. If we can find it, we'll share it with our audience. Robert Smith,
Robert.
great to see you, man.
Okay, guys, take it
man.
easy.
Always good. All right, he's got Michigan over Penn State. I think you're right.